The inclusion of women in various decision-making positions in the society has been a major point of discourse for some decades now. From the Beijing Conference of 1991 to the 35% affirmative action, concerted efforts are being put in place to ensure a fairer representation for our women, particularly within the democratic space. How successful are some of these efforts, and what are the obstacles that need to be cleared to ensure that our women occupy their rightful position in the scheme of things in our nation? Welcome to today's episode of Impact Nigeria. I am Deva Hamachion Mom. The program continues after this break. As the world marks this year's International Day of the Girl Child, it is imperative to examine how the female gender is doing, particularly in governance and decision-making, since the girl child of today will be the woman of tomorrow. Our crew went out to feel the pulse of Nigerians on this all-important topic, and here are our findings.
The participation of women is really grossly inadequate.
They are not giving us the opportunity. They are denying us from the opportunity. They are pushing us at the back of the seat. They are not putting us in front. And we are supposed to be in front too. We are also human beings, also Nigerians. They should give us that opportunity to do things as Nigerians too. Other countries, women are president, women are women are leading the world, the country. Why are they not aligning it in this country?
A lot of women, they want to participate, but they are afraid of a lot of things. Oppression, suppression. They don't want women voice to be heard. If you see what is happening in our National Assembly, you know where I'm going to. So if women are given the chance, they will do better than the men. But the problem is that women are not given the chance. Sometimes it's based on marriage, cultural background, and a lot of things. So women participating in politics is nothing to talk home about at all.
And most of women in Nigeria, we are kind of scared to come out to fight for what we're supposed to fight for, or to do what we're supposed to do, because I feel like they feel like men, they can lead everything. And it's not all about men that can lead all the policy.
There are so many factors. One, I would say, it's Nigerian politics is monetized, if I can use that word, and the women don't have that wherewithal to be able to match the men when it comes to money. For example, if you look at the last election, some of the political offices, the expression of interest form was sold for over 100 million naira for some of them. And how many women do you think have that kind of money to be able to purchase that? Some of the political party made it, I think, free for some women. But you see, it's not just the expression of interest. What about campaign? What about other aspects of elections?
So women should be given the opportunity, the chance. Husbands should give their wife chance to exercise their right as a woman.
They should just give us a trial. If you don't try us, you will not know that we are capable of doing it. We will make sure that the women are not supposed to be fixed, where the women are not supposed to be fixed. We'll make sure that the women are supposed to be there. And we will show people that women can do more better than the men. Because we are mothers, we should know what to handle, we should know what to do. That we know that, yes, we are doing something in this country.
For me, I for say they should give them a chance. But it's not by giving them a chance. They have to prove themselves there. You understand? Politics is not just by they'll give you chance. You have to make your own way. You understand? There, you understand? So you can't just sit down somewhere or you say they should give you chance. No. You have to fight for it. You understand? So they have to stand up to make that, you understand, to go for that, what they want as a politics. So nobody can stop women to being in politics, you understand. But for level of women now, there are few.
Welcome back. Some very interesting views there. So that the female gender constitutes almost half of our voting population is not in doubt, but we have witnessed a continuous decline in the fortunes of this important segment of our population, particularly in the parliament at both the state and national assemblies, as more female lawmakers are denied re-election. What could be the root cause of this ugly trend? Our backgrounder will shed more light on this issue.
Women constitute half of the world's population, perform nearly 2/3 of its work hours, receive 1/10 of the world's income, and own less than 1% of the world's property. This famous United Nations quote, first echoed during the UN Decade for Women between 1976 and 1985, highlighted the inequality that shaped women's realities across the globe. And though the world has seen some progress since then, the story remains painfully similar in Africa, and particularly in Nigeria. In a country where women make almost half of the population, their presence in decision-making remains strikingly low. From the local government levels to the National Assembly, the underrepresentation of women is just obvious. This tells a story of exclusion, but is the exclusion because of lack of ability or for lack of access?
The atmosphere, the perspective, the background is not even yielding the conducive atmosphere for women to play equally. When it comes to time of political, the men will come and tell the woman and say, yes, I know that she has helped you so much and everything, but however, when it comes tomorrow, you are voting for this person, and most of the time, these people that are asking the women to vote for are not women. You also look at the cases of late night meetings. So how would a married woman or a young woman that have young kids at home and wants to ensure there's a work-life balance, leave the children in the middle of the night going for late night meetings? So the political atmosphere in Nigeria definitely is not conducive for women to favorably participate. And the few ones that have actually participated in it, we've seen the way they slammed them.
Across Nigerians' history, a few women have defied the odds. The stories of Margaret Ekpo, Fumilayo Ramson Kuti, Dora Akunyeli, and Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala are clear examples of women's ability to deliver when given the opportunity. Their courage opened doors, but those doors remain narrow for millions of other women aspiring to lead. Barriers to women's political inclusion go beyond the ballot box. Cultural beliefs, gender stereotypes, lack of financial power, and political violence continue to keep women at the margins.
If we also look at what has also happened there, how many women still want to come out and participate in politics because they have not seen what kind of injustice women are being subjected to. So when we look at all this gamut of processes, right, we find out that the women participation day by day is being reduced, and there's some form of intentionality of actually scrutinizing the women's role in leadership, especially when it comes to elected position. The leadership, the kind of a democratic system that we run in this country has actually excluded women, even though on paper we have the gender policies, we have the affirmative actions, and currently we are even advocating for the special seat for women. Are this actually the right way? So it still gives the conclusion that women participation in politics is underrepresented, is low, and the voice of women is still on every day being pushed under the carpet.
But the tide is slowly changing. Women's groups, civil society organizations, and young activists are challenging the old order, demanding that inclusion move from tokenism to transformation.
One of the things I'm going to plead to everyone listening and the government, and especially those the core people at the affair, is that I want to plead with every one of us to ensure that this special seat for women should not become a tokenism mechanism of rewarding some women that have served some few people in the system. We should intentionally ensure that it becomes a level playing ground for every woman that of competence, of character and capacity are able to play and participate equally.
The United Nations has also continued to remind governments that achieving gender parity in leadership is not just a women's issue, but a democracy issue. When women lead, policies change, budgets reflect families, communities feel safer, and nations grow stronger. Nigeria's democracy cannot be complete while half of its citizens remain underrepresented. The time has come to move beyond promises, to policies, beyond slogans, to seats, and beyond inclusion, to influence. Until every woman's voice counts, Nigeria's democracy is still an unfinished project.
Well, in our quest to unravel the mystery behind the seeming alienation of a critical segment of the society and the denial of them a seat at the table, we are being joined by the president of the League of Women Voters of Nigeria, Irene Awunake. She is a development worker, a humanitarian, and an activist who has put in almost 2 decades of tireless effort into promoting women's rights, sustainable development, and social justice. She is a graduate of Communication and Language Arts from the University of Ibadan and has a master's degree in Sustainable Integrated Rural Development from the same institution. Her dedication to promoting women's empowerment and social justice has earned her recognition as a leader and changemaker in Nigeria. Her work serves as an inspiration to many, and her commitment to creating positive change is truly commendable. And it's good to have you with us, Irene.
Thank you very much, Devan.
Yes.
It's nice having you.
And it's good to have you with us on the show. I, first of all, want you to tell us what the League of Women Voters of Nigeria is all about.
With the League of Women Voters of Nigeria, it's an organization of women who vote, who are registered to vote. It was founded exactly 29 years ago after the Beijing conference. Some Nigerian women who attended the Beijing conference met with the members of the League of the American League of Women Voters, who brought them to speed on what to do with the voter currency as women, and then also gave them a template to come and implement in Nigeria. And so a few years after, about 2 years after the Beijing conference, the league was formed in Nigeria by Dame Dr. Esther Udwehi and some of her colleagues who attended the Beijing conference. The league is an organization, a civic organization that promotes women inclusion in government and in leadership entirely. We have 16 standing committees, various thematic areas that can help women and girls, attain their potentials in every sector. Today, we are also celebrating the International Girl Child Day across the country. In various states, we are having various programs. We have state chapters, and we are in the 774 local governments. Because we are voters, we also have a structure at the ward level, and then we have polling unit supervisors. We didn't have the polling unit supervisors until 2015 election, when we were very concerned about what turns out at the polling units when votes are not properly counted or results are being mutilated. So because we are also an accredited organization by INEC to observe elections, we have decided to have our polling unit supervisors, and they are very, very, they are doing very well. The results we get from that position have formed a lot of policy your change and implementation. So NILOV, as the acronym, we have been doing a lot empowering women, training them to ensure that they have the capacity to lead. We encourage women to contest, and we'll do some hand holding. It is very, very interesting to note that what we do, especially at the state level, is generally to see how we can galvanize the voter currency, not just to vote for women, but to ensure that the candidates that emerge at the general elections are those who have a template of what they want to do for the women of their states. We did that in the last election, and I would agree that our women are enjoying, relatively attention at the state level in some of those states that those conferences were held, and the candidates of various political parties were interrogated on what they can do for Nigeria. And of course, the special seats bill, it's what we have. We launched that campaign in February.
Well, we'll come to that.
Yes.
We'll come to that.
Yeah.
But ahead of that, as we mark the Day of the Girl Child, how would you say the girl child is faring in Nigeria?
Yes, I will take us back to the lockdown. There's a lot of gender-based violence in the space. The girl child in Nigeria is an endangered species. And so, the Child Rights Act is under review, and some other instruments to strengthen our judiciary system so that we can get more convictions, so that we can have closure on some of these issues. There's a lot of gender-based violence. There's a lot of out-of-school children, and most of them are girls. Then, because we also know that the population that is out of school, most of them are both urban and rural. They are not just rural children. We have a lot of crises that we would say across the country, in various, especially in North Central, and some places in Northeast and Northwest, where we have a lot of IDPs. This alone has also increased the number of out-of-school children. So there's need for something critical be done about education system in this country, to see that the number of children that are out of school, especially the girl child, should be brought into school, even if it is not formal education. There should be some kind of informal, way of educating the girl child, because it is said and it is confirmed that when you educate the girl child, you educate a nation. And it is very important that from that level, the girl child starts learning how to give back to her society. And if you don't empower her with knowledge and skill, she may not be able to be useful to the country when she becomes a woman. So it is imperative to state that education is the key. It's an empowerment that if you give to a girl child, it will give her the wings to fly. It will give her the space to engage, and it will also develop her, and at large develop the country.
So bottom line is, at the moment, the girl child is not doing too well in Nigeria, and much needs to be done, especially with regard to formal education.
Absolutely.
Now, still coming back to the work of NILOV, can you give us a picture of the population of women voters we have in Nigeria? And does NILOV membership consist only of women who have the capacity to vote?
Okay, yes. We have about 48.9 million female voters as at 2023 election. For NILOV, we have confirmed registered members of NILOV, about 28 million confirmed as at 2023. We did that membership analysis because we needed to give some information to some of our founders. It was actually funded by Action Aid after we had a campaign to get more women to register to vote. And the population of NILOV members are only female voters. You have to have a voter card to become a member. And you become a member in your state chapter, that is, or wherever you vote, that is where you register to become a member. So we have 37 state chapters and the FCT, 36 plus FCT, that's 37 chapters. We also have some affiliate organizations who, you know, work with us, you know, they about 13 affiliate organizations. They also have the mandate to, you know, join in our voter registration campaigns, and you also must have a population of voting for you to affiliate with the NILOV, you know, or work with us. So it is something we hold very dearly. The voter currency, it is the bargaining chip we use, you know, to negotiate for policy change and also to negotiate for things that will help women and give women the, you know, the seat at the table. So we don't joke with it at all, and we are very critical about it. So every year we are going to have our AGM next week, precisely on the 18th of October at Mariam Babangida Women Development Center in Abuja here. All state chapters will come with up-to-date membership records. You know, that way we harness that records together, and then we start working towards 2027 with that, engaging stakeholders, and then people who want to run for elections. Of course, we would be demanding of them a whole lot from them for the Nigerian women, because Nigerian women have been to a lot trying to see that we have a leadership, good leadership in this country. And as NILOV, we are called we are the defenders of the democracy. It is a core component of our work to ensure that we have a democracy that is not just beneficial to the governance of this country, but it's also inclusive, and is also bringing, you know, the desired development to every individual. If you look at the environment, the political environment now, you can see that there's some kind of tension. And if women were in this space, you know, a good number of them, there's a way the women can dice the tension by bringing to bear some humanitarian succor, because most women are more tender when it comes to relating with the, you know, they are more human than the men. Well, I'm not saying that the policies and other things that are being attended to at this time are not good enough, but you know, they have to have human faces. You know, there's a lot, you know, that Nigerians are going through now, even if it is confirmed that for now our economy is stable, but the common man on the streets, you know, is not finding it funny. And then talk more of the rural women who have all that it is to give back to this country. The highest the GDP, the highest contributors to our GDP are those rural women, those market women, because every day they contribute to the economy of this country, because they engage daily in trade and investments. So if you see the figures change, you know, at our GDP, you know that these women are doing a lot. But at the end of the day, do they really noticed? You know, the work they are doing for the development of this country? Are they getting the amenities at that level? Do they have good roads? Do they have feeder roads that can take them to the markets? What is transportation? Are they getting value for what they are selling? Do they spend 3 months trying to get something from their farm, and at the end of the day, what they get can't even take them for a week in their homes? So, you know, there's a whole lot of it.
Yeah. So let's talk about women's representation in politics, or in governance, as the case may be.
Yeah.
How impressed are you by that?
There's nothing impressive about it. It's actually a shame. I've been embarrassed, you know, several occasions when we engage at the African regional level, you are being asked a lot of questions. What are you people doing? We had a meeting with the League of Women Voters of an online meeting with League of Women Voters of Tanzania, and they were asking, what are you people doing? Can you people push for this bill alone? Can we join you? And all of that, because it's quite an embarrassing situation. The statistics there say that Nigeria is third to the bottom in Africa.
Despite being
the giants of Africa. Third to the bottom, with a percentage of less than 4% in National Assembly.
But what could be responsible for this extremely poor, in fact, it seems to be plummeting.
Yes.
Extremely poor, that it's almost lacking the presence of women in politics or in the corridors of power.
A lot, some certain factors, a lot, but I would say that when people talk about culture and religion, I'm not saying that is not actually that's not actually what it is. It's a contributory factor, but basically I think they are man-made. There are issues that have been put in place by men within political parties to ensure that women don't get to the ballots.
Can you give us some examples?
For instance, if you go to all the political parties, none is exception. If you go to the structure of their political leadership, you start from the ward level, where those who vote within the political party for their candidates come from. That's the world leadership of their political party. You get only one woman, who is a woman leader. Whichever woman that is in that executive is either an ex-official or the treasurer that has no voting power. You go to the local government level, it's the same thing. You go to the state, sometimes even in the states it's even worse. They don't even have a treasurer and ex-official, they just have the woman leader, and that's all. I would agree that at the NWC level, at the national level, a lot of political parties have tried to have the 35%, some 25%, but those are, the number is quite small. Is insignificant to what it can happen, what it can affect at state level, where the candidates emerge from. These candidates are not voted at the national level. Mm-hmm. So from that level, it has been like that, and it is a deliberate thing. They know that if you have more women, if you have a woman as a secretary of the party at the ward level, and you have a woman as a secretary of party at the local government level, you are giving them the power to be able to decide who emerges within their political party as an honorable House of Rep member, a senator, even a governor, even the state assembly member.
Do we have enough women stepping up to actively participate in partisan
We have
politics?
a lot of women. I would even say that I keep saying Nigerian women are politically enlightened and very active. That is why the men who are in politics don't joke with the population, the female population within their political parties. They do their best to always win them on their side, because they know that the women have the numbers, and within the political parties, the roles that they assign to them are actually not the relevant roles. That's why you don't see them, because they are the ones that do the campaigning. They are the ones that do the canvassing of the votes. They are the ones who vote. They are the ones who defend those votes. And in some cases, they are even the one who help them do the vote buying. So the women are there in their numbers, but they have assigned certain roles to them that are only relevant to them, not to the women. And so it's an eye-opener to all of us, especially those of us who are politically enlightened and are engaging within political space, that for you to be relevant within your political party, it is not just to go to campaigns and dance, collect wrapper and salt and go. You have to attend your party meetings at the ward level. and ensure that if you go there and they are sharing transport to people, don't collect. Collect the one they give to you, add money and give it to them. Mr. Chairman, my ward chairman, take and share to other people. That way they start looking at you as a different person, and that makes you a stakeholder within that space. We have to be strategic, and we have to, be more practical, because if you go there and sit in the numbers and allow them to treat you as they treat every other person, you will never have a voice and you won't be able to decide anything. But if you put yourself forward as somebody who know why you are there, and because you are concerned about what is happening in your political party, they will definitely at the end of the day see that you are not just in the numbers, but you are different.
Okay.
And it is important also to state that politics is local, and so the grassroots is where all this happens, and that the grassroots is where knowledge is limited. So they capitalize on the lack of knowledge at that level to do the things they do and shut women out.
So it's been a very interesting conversation so far. We have with us in the studio Irene Awunake, and she's been talking to us about women participation in politics. We will be back right after this break.
They are bold. They are creative. They are shaping the future. From classrooms to global stages.
Welcome to today's episode of The Conversation That Matters.
Nigerian youths are making an impact like never before. We are duty-bound to promote ingenuity, courage, and patriotism. Join us on Impact Nigeria as we spotlight stories that inspire, innovations that drive changes, and voices that matter.
What is patriotism to you?
Patriotism simply refers to love of country, commitment to country, determination to face odds in defense of country, and the eagerness to speak with pride about country.
Impact Nigeria, rekindling patriotism, live every Saturday by 5 p.m. on NTA NEWS24. Join us.
Welcome back. I have been talking to the President, League of Women Voters of Nigeria, in the person of Irene Awunake, and we have identified that there's a problem. We're not seeing enough women in the corridors of power, be it in partisan politics or even in public administration, as the case may be. I know that NILOV has taken some steps to address this issue. Can you throw more light?
Okay, last year at our AGM, we had this conversation. It came up prominently and strongly because we x-rayed the 2023 elections and we looked at the reasons why women were not in the space. And so we got an information that there was a bill on the floor of the House of Representatives sponsored by some House of Reps members, led by the Deputy Speaker, Right Honorable Benjamin Kalu, the Special Seats Reserved for Women Bill. And so we decided that as the League of Women Voters, we would spotlight that bill, bring it, to fore, campaign and galvanize support of Nigerians. Because it is very, very difficult to throw out a bill that has the buy-in of the masses and it's popular. We have not totally recovered, from the 2022 5 gender bills that were thrown out. And so we looked at things that we didn't do at that time, and we chose to do it differently this time. So we launched the Her Seat in Parliament campaign in February 2025. The campaign was a grassroots mobilization campaign, because that is where the votes are. Everyone in National Assembly came from a constituency. And we decided to engage the constituents and tell them about the bill, and then furthermore, we had support from UN Women. So we expanded the scope of the work. We went into multi-sectoral town halls in states, and we also had town halls at senatorial level. At this town hall, we had traditional rulers, religious leaders, politicians, technocrats, business people, the grassroots, and also some elites, were part of this town hall. We got endorsements. We galvanized across Nigeria about 1.2 million endorsements and memorandums in support of the bill. We had submitted them at the various zonal public hearings as the states applied, and then recently on the 23rd of September we submitted all the bills at the national public hearing here in Abuja at the Transcorp Hilton. This shows that this bill, it's not just it is good enough that it emerged from the House of Representatives, but the buy-in and the support for the bill shows that Nigeria is ripe for this bill. It is a bill that has come at the right time, and it is, I always say, this is the only thing that will restore our democratic integrity. A democracy that excludes half of its population is not a democracy. Now, for instance, we have the federal character, right? The federal character, it's an instrument and an organization that government put in place to ensure that there's fair share across the 36 states and FCT when it comes to recruitment. Now, if federal character is something that has helped us as a nation to give room for everyone to be included and feel involved in the day-to-day running of Nigeria as regards to civil service, why don't we now say that this bill is another way to checkmate the lopsidedness in the National Assembly and the political space? The bill is a bill of necessity, because having 360 members, and out of 360 members of House of Reps, you have only 14 women. In the Senate, 109, you have only 4 women.
That's scary.
Yes. Now, the most scary one is at the state assemblies. We have 14 states that don't have one single woman. And it means that in those states, the chairman House Committee on Women in those states,
a man.
It's a man.
Yeah.
Now, so these things happen. We think that they are trivial. It doesn't matter. Even men can also, whatever men do, they consider women. It is not true. And you will not blame any chairman House Committee on Women in any state that does not remember that today is the International Day for the Girl Child. Because he would have been thinking about things up there, right? Nothing about us without us. Nigeria has women. We have women that have shown capacity and tenacity, even within the political space. The women are leading in other sectors, the captains of industries. We saw the intro. We have the likes of Okonjo-Iweala. We have the likes of the women that are leading in the banking sector. Look at in the academia. We have over 8 female VCs across Nigeria now, and they are doing very well. Have you noticed that we have had less court walls in the universities in Nigeria recently? It is because women have driven into that space and are in charge. So what women will bring to bear in the table, they will make the table stronger. They will make Nigeria's democracy, they will sanitize the space, and they will make it a democracy that every Nigerian will be proud of.
We identified some stumbling blocks in the path of women's participation in politics at all levels. What do you think is responsible for this? Is it possible that our men are afraid of women wielding power?
I don't think they are afraid. I think they are just used to the environment. I think they are used to that environment, being in power.
And they want to keep the status quo.
And they want to keep the status quo. But I am, fascinated at the number of men that have come up to say that they are in support of this bill, especially those who are in National Assembly. I am impressed about how they have driven this bill. The Speaker himself, Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas Hassan, who even went as far as even constituting a committee, which I'm also a member of, an advocacy committee, to meet with the honorable members one by one to advocate for their support for the bill, so that at the end of the day, they would vote for the bill. Now we are going towards voting. I think voting should be in November. And it is just to ask that every Nigerian should be involved. If you know that this bill is what will bring, a new Nigeria, will give us a reputation, because our reputation out there on women inclusion is very bad.
As a nation.
As a nation. When they say Nigeria, those people, they don't know that they are supposed to be inclusive. We have done well in having disability rights law, and we are even talking about having buildings, or policies to checkmate buildings for accessibility and all of that. We have to take every Nigeria along. Our country is flying with one arm, looking with one eye. And of course, I always say that if we have more women in the room, let us have more women in the room and see the difference that will bring to bear, both politically, economically, and, internationally.
For the avoidance of doubt, or for the sake of persuasion,
yes,
what would be the benefit of seeing more women in the corridors of power? More women in the National Assembly, more women holding executive positions. What is the gain?
Okay, while I was speaking, I mentioned some gains around the line, but I want to specifically speak to statistics. Now, we have a UNICEF statistics that say that Nigeria loses about 30 billion annually for not having women in leadership.
How?
It has to do with the number of issues, GBV cases we have, vis-a-vis how much money is being spent on handling such issues, and then neglects of the female folks' impacts in economic growth, right? And if you look at that vis-a-vis the amount of money, because I'm going to come to that, because it is one of those issues that have been raised in various forums, that adding that number of women in parliament will entail that the budget of National Assembly will increase. PLAC, which is an organization that have been consulting for the National Assembly for I think since 1999, if I'm not mistaken, have done that research, and it's going to cost Nigeria just an increase of less than 1% of the total budget of National Assembly to have more women in the room. And what would that bring? It will bring, first and foremost, policies that will be gender friendly and all inclusive. Because when women are thinking or are discussing, they don't talk about women alone. They speak to the family. They speak to issues that will bring prosperity. They speak to issues that will bring good health, environment. And these are the core issues that speaks to good governance. If you look at the issues that women talk about, they are issues that deal with the well-being of a citizen. And that is what is leadership about. It's about ensuring that every citizen, is living right and well. So that will first and foremost bring prosperity to Nigeria. It will sanitize the political space. I'm so concerned about the way campaigns are run, about the kind of money that is splashed around, the violence within the political space, in fact, unfortunately, even the the forgery, the things that come into that space. If women are there, women are people who are known to be upright. Apart from the fact that they raised even the men who are in that place, they also ensure that things are done accordingly. The few women in National Assembly are like mothers to the other honorable members, because they are the ones that always guide the tides and the pace of the things that happen in that space. So if you want calmness, they talk about insecurity. Women are frontliners when it comes to issues of insecurity. When there's a crisis in an area, the men are the ones that have the ability to leave the crisis area. But a woman will not leave her child and run away. She must try her best to see that she can be living that environment with the child. And that's why it is very, very important to empower them, so that early warning signs and all of that, the women can be able to give this information. So there's a lot that Nigeria will benefit from having women in the room. The support they will get from the women, they won't even be toiling this hard. Nigeria will be sailing on autopilot if they have more women in the room, because they have the ability, they have the network, they have the numbers, and of course God has given women more wisdom. I don't know why.
That's probably debatable.
Yes.
There'll be those that will say that is debatable.
Yes.
So how then can Nigeria measure up to other countries that are doing far better in terms of inclusion in Africa specifically?
So for this bill, there were some arguments that we need 35% affirmative actions and all of that. I think that this 10th Assembly will be doing Nigeria and themselves a great deal by passing this bill into law, because that will give Nigeria the numbers, and of course will take us away from that level we are and bring us up. And there's some conversations that have been having and excluding Nigeria because they do not meet up the criteria, because they are not inclusive. Nigeria will become participants in such rooms.
So it has been an interesting one, and with in the studio with me has been the president of the League of Nigeria Women Voters, in the person of Irene Awuna-Kye. Thank you so much for joining us, and we hope that you'll honor our invitation again when next we have cause to bring you in.
Sure, I will. Thank you so much for having me. It has been an interesting conversation.
Thank you. So addressing the issue of more inclusive governance that will engender robust participation for more than half of our population should not be treated with levity, since it will assist in our nation-building efforts. Thank you for spending your time with us on today's episode of the program. If you have benefited from today's conversation, don't forget to join us same time next week for a refreshing edition of Impact Nigeria. Until then, stay thoughtful, stay engaged, and stay committed to building the nation we all dream of. From Devahama to your mom, it's bye for now.